Is this on? What an incredible film. So, I don't know, I've seen this movie now over a dozen times, and every single time I break down crying. You talk about black and brown girl magic, that was more than magic. So before I call our panelists up to the stage, I want to be sure to recognize everybody that's in the house that was in this film. So I'm gonna call out all the teams. Y'all shout me out, stand up, take your place in this place. We'll start with the Fantastic Four. Dolores Finlayson, Adrian Nikki Howell, Deshaun Goodson, Robin Watterson Adrian, Double Dutch Dynamos, where are you at? Teresa Crisp, Lisa Monroe, Kenyette Saunders, Zenobia White, the DD Tigers, Double Dutch Tigers, Yvette Brace, Sophie Cologne, Marlene Cruz, Diana Hayes, and the Jumpin' Joints, where are you at? Peter Holman, Brenda Morgan, Tamise Patterson, Cherie Salter. I salute you. We salute you. This is what it's about. We talked about reclaiming time, but reclaiming space. Reclaiming space here at Lincoln Center. So I want to bring up our panelists, Dolores Finlayson, Zenobia White. Yeah, you can come this way. Where's Zenobia? Marlene Cruz. And Brenda Morgan. So ladies, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the legacy. How does it feel watching that? I'm sure it's not your first time seeing it, but back on the big screen here at Lincoln Center.
Oh, thank you. It feels phenomenal. It feels like we've never left. It feels like, oh, I'm sorry, is that better? Okay, once again, it feels like we've never left. It just feels like, we're going down memory lane. We just look a little different, a little heavier, but we're,
Y'all look great, trust me.
But we look good, okay.
Oh, you're going now?
Okay, yeah.
Watching it, it's like the electricity that was there, it all comes back. I have butterflies.
Yes.
When you see what was going on the film and remember being there and feeling what it felt like, that was our life. And I commend Lincoln Center, yourself, for bringing us all back here. It's so great to see these ladies again.
Yes.
Some of us have, crossed paths traveling back then, and it's such an awesome thing to see everybody now. It's just really nice.
For me, as a double dutcher,
Just hold it up.
oh, as for me, first of all, Puerto Rican. Okay, one of the few Puerto Ricans jumping double dutch back then. All right. Me and my teammate Sophie Cologne, and we from the LES. I used to live on Delancey. It was such a joy when people be seeing us and be like, "Oh my God, those are the girls from LES, Double Dutch Tigers," and they loved us everywhere we went. So watching that, it's like, it just brings memories. Honestly, I wish I was that age again. And like she said, slimmer.
Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah,
I feel really, really good. I could jump up and woo! Woo, baby, it was God, family, and double dutch for me. It was our world. And I feel anybody that didn't have an opportunity to experience it has been cheated. So I feel incredibly blessed. I love my 44 team, baby. And I thank you all for doing this. It's much needed.
Yes.
Thank you. All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So tell me, guys, what was your first encounter with Double Dutch? How did you get introduced to Double Dutch? We understand it. We as people that are living here in New York City, Double Dutch was everywhere back in the day.
Yes.
You just went on the street and you knew what to do, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, you had the older kids who were out there doing call and response, and they were jumping rope. We didn't realize it at the time that that's what you wanted to do. But when you came and you wanted to jump and you wanted to join the culture, you had to bring your A game. So if you didn't have your A game, you might as well sit down. But if you had your A game, or at least wanted to try to put on your A game, then you would ask to jump and then ask to turn.
Mm-hmm. So our experience in elementary school you saw Larry Jenkins up there. We had several teams, but our team received a lot of attention because we had the first male, Peter Holloman. So the pressure was really on for us, and as Zenobia said, it was God, family, and double dutch, and we ate, slept, drank,
Yes.
double dutch after, you having your teacher in the same school. It was just like, well, what time is practice? Well, what time and it just brought us, we're family. And even though we competed against the other ladies, we cheered each other on. It was such an inclusive thing. And I'm going to just piggyback off of what Zenobia said again. If you did not experience double dutch in the 80s, you were cheated. You were cheated, and that's just it.
Well, I came from Far Rockaway to the Lower East Side. So my school, junior high school 56. Woo! There was Miss Shepherd and Miss Pope, and they said they're having tryouts. So here I'm thinking I could last a long time. So I'm like thinking it's gonna be 1, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So when we go and they start showing us, it was like even more, I loved it even more. And I was like, okay, I always wanted to go. I started a lot of the stuff that you saw out there, because I used to also do gymnastics. So I incorporated all that. Cartwheel over the head, that's me. All right. Straddling and over, that's me. So many, and it was, like I said, I'll go back in a minute. Oh, yeah.
So I started out at junior high school 43. Kate Griffin was the coach there, and I actually danced. I was with the Rock Bay, Alvin Haley, and so I didn't really double dutch well. But when the coach saw me cartwheeling and splitting, she came up to me and said, I think you should be doing double dutch. I said, but I dance, I'm doing other things. No, but you should be doing double dutch because that's where it is right now. And from then on, she put me under her wing, and it was just a phenomenal experience. Not only athletically, but scholastically. We were athlete scholars. She never tolerated anything but the best. Double dutch was secondary to education to her. So I applaud her. I applaud her for embracing me. And again, what a wonderful experience.
Yes.
Kate Griffin.
So you guys spoke, you spoke a little bit about what Double Dutch gave you. I would love to hear from the other ladies. Like, how do you think you benefited from the sport? Like, what was it giving to you as you were giving, as it was giving back to you?
So
It gave us something to do. I personally, my parents were very strict. Larry Jenkins had to beg my mother. Most of us were in the same situation. So he had to actually beg our parents for us to compete, and they still didn't really grasp the idea. The idea of when the street lights come on, we were in front of our porches. We started actually in elementary school, PS 268, and some still. And so we were really young, and for your parents to hand over their young child to this coach who you practice. We didn't practice in our school. We practiced at Brownsville Recreation Center. And our parents were like, what, this man and his young girls at PS 268.
He thought something was up.
But he became a second father to us. It wasn't only double dutch. We never really wanted to leave practice. Our coach was very dedicated just as well as other coaches. He drove us to Brownsville Recreation Center and dropped each and every one of us home. Later on, and I guess we'll get to other questions, we became, McDonald's saw vision, Sprite saw vision, Dark and Lovely saw vision, and we started traveling in the tri-state. We went to Japan, California, later to do commercials. And Double Dutch was so much a part of us, if you think about it, from elementary school to high school. In high school, we went to Japan. And a lot of people, just as Marlene said, they was like, wow, that's that team with the, we became the team with the boy. But, so our lives became consumed with Double Dutch, and you learn to have your teammates back, have your sisters back, and so that's the early starting of your socialization for the world and what you're gonna do in society. So that's what Double Dutch actually did for us.
And that brings me to...
I'm sorry, I just want to add one thing, because one of the things that I want to mention very quickly, and not very quickly either, Detective Walker. Detective Walker. Detective Walker. Now, see, I'm a little confused because I don't see him anywhere. Like, he is Double Dutch. So I'm a little confused about that because I don't see him anywhere. Please, somebody help me understand why not, because he is Double Dutch. So the one thing I want to tell you about him is him and his wife were our second parents.
Right
for sure, for all of us, especially those of us that traveled. In addition to understanding Double Dutch, they both had an entrepreneurial spirit. Like when we went to Double Dutch in McDonald's, we met the owner, and they talked to us about entrepreneurial opportunities. When we traveled throughout the world, he took us to the best of places. He introduced us to the top political figures and ensured that we are exposed at levels you will not believe. Where is David Walker in this picture? So it's just so beyond what I can explain, what they instilled in us and what I came out of with. It's just incredible. Thank you, sorry.
We definitely want to pay homage to, and with revered recognition to David Walker and Mike Williams that are here in the house in spirit for sure. Some of the photos, as you see in the exhibition that are coming, that are up on our mural here, showcase some of him and all of the jumpers that were here during that time in 1981.
Okay,
Marlene?
looking for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to start with how it was. I came from a very poor, I tell people, P.O., I can't afford the O.R. But in Double Dutch, I had all the sneakers. David Walker always made sure we had the best. Fila, Converse, Adidas, Pumas, everywhere. I had so many sweatshirts and sweatsuits. So that was like so beautiful. And then for us to go and represent, because our team, because of Sophie, you saw the Puerto Rican girl up there too. She, we would pass. We would be said like, okay, we were looking more international because Sophie would look like a Caucasian girl. So we will pass her like that. And I would pass like for Indian or Trinidadian or Guyanese and so many other things. So we were international ourselves. Okay? And we traveled, we went places, we met people, like she said, we won shows, Kids are People too,
Yes.
Wonderama.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know.
We opened up for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Exactly.
We opened up for the Temptations at McDonald's when they were
Yes.
chicken McNuggets. You know how far that go. We were introducing it.
I just would like to
So,
point out, excuse me, Marlene.
yeah.
Marlene and I went to the same junior high school, Corliss Junior High School 56. Marlene is a part, once again, of the legendary DD Tigers. My sister was also an original member of the DD Tigers.
Yes.
And I must say, what you ladies did for us was set the bar. I mean, granted, we did raise it a little, but we did.
Oh, damn!
Hey, I'm just saying.
Damn!
I'm just saying.
I thought we were sisters. We friends.
We sisters. That's right, Peter.
Not now.
But seriously, back in the day, we were all fierce competitors.
Yes.
Now we're just awesome, to me, awesome black women of God. Okay? We're just awesome. This is our legacy.
That's right.
This is our legacy. Skip was able to capture our legacy.
Yes.
So what we've gotten from the sport, yes, we traveled. Yes, we made a few dollars and we got some sneakers and some gear. But more importantly, we got exposure.
Yes.
We got exposure and we got something to leave our next generation. Okay? So that's what I like to say. That's what we're giving back.
I just want to add, being Puerto Rican, my mother didn't even know what double dutch was. I couldn't even explain it to her. So when we were on TV, I'm waking them all up. Get up, I'm on television. They're like, wow, that for the first time they saw what I did. And they were amazed. And I was like, if they only, because they wouldn't come to the competitions and stuff. We always used to have Diane's mother, Charlene, always there, always backing us up. That was like our second mother, mine's anyway. So it was so good to be those days.
Thank you. I want to pick up on something that Brenda was talking about, and how did Double Dutch ground you as a young person and now as an adult in your professional and your personal life? Because I feel like it was this anchor for you guys.
It was an anchor. Oh, excuse me, it was definitely an anchor. It was something to look forward to. It was something to do after school. I mean, Robin, Nikki, and Deshawn, look at my teammates back there. Hey, ladies.
It kept you out of trouble.
Right. It kept
Especially
us
with
off
the boys.
streets. That's right. It kept us off the streets. And every time we were in the streets, we were looking to practice. We were looking for the next gymnasium that would host us so we can just practice. And to us, that made us more competitive. It made us great teammates, and it embraced for us teamwork. So I think that it's exhibited in our performance here in Pick Up Your Feet. I think, once again, Skip was able to capture all of that phenomenal behavior that we possessed as four beautiful ladies. My team. I love them.
Double Dutch kept us grounded by, at a very young age, holding us accountable to each other.
Yes.
You saw in the video,
True.
they're hunting Sophie down. Sophie, we got feelings too.
Right.
It held us accountable. There were several other teams in our Jenkins Jumpin' Joints clan, and you had to show up to practice. You had to get on your A game.
right.
You had to, if Cherie is jumping, you better be turning, or else what's up with you today,
That's right.
So at a very early age in elementary school, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, it was the beginnings of holding us accountable to
Being
another
responsible.
person
That's right.
and being responsible.
Yes.
Because you had to think about your teammates.
Yes, exactly.
Double Dutch is a sport where
Didn't
it
lose
really
that.
is a team sport.
Yes.
If one day, I remember one day, at one point we were competing and Cherie pulled her quad or something like that, and we had to rally behind her. So if it's one for all for one.
Yes.
And that's what even these ladies, later on in life, we looked up to the Fantastic Four and these older ladies, and they embraced us. We were kind of like the
babies?
the
What are you trying to say, the
babies
babies?
and the odd people out, for lack of a better word, because we had Peter, and they embraced us so much. I didn't even know that Mr. Jenkins, Nikki was telling us, Larry used to take us all around.
He sure did. Yes, he did.
We didn't know that. We knew
Yes.
what we knew. And they embraced us, and we were younger, so we were looked at. I told Dolores, like, we stole that move after y'all left. So that is what grounded us.
I agree with everything everybody said. It gave us another purpose. I would say that my parents, just like I think you mentioned, our parents were strict on us. So when we came in really, really grounded in that way, but Double Dutch brought that team spirit, because I was an only child. So it brought that sisterhood that I would have never gotten anywhere else. And to this day, we are the best of friends. And it also gives you this spiritual, loving support that around anything and everything that you're going through, you're going to be all right. One of our teammates has stage 4 cancer today, but she's here with us today. And and the reason why we're going to gather around her and be prayerful is because of Double Dutch. They taught us that we are in it to win it forever.
That's right. Yes. Yes, indeed.
So keep my baby in prayers for you.
Oh, definitely.
When you were in it, did you feel like you were creating something that was new, innovative? Did you feel like you were the pioneers of something? Did you feel like you were forging new territory?
Yes. It was, once again, like I said, the DD Tigers had set the bar for us, but we came around and we raised it a little. We raised it a lot.
Had to repeat that, right, guys?
Had to repeat it.
Okay, don't worry, I'm waiting, I'm
But
waiting.
more than anything, we wanted to be, we wanted our legacy to be important. We just weren't the Fantastic Four out there performing and putting on a show. It was important that we created routines that were innovative. We want to do something that no one has ever done before. And the fact that we were able to do it, and we would always challenge ourselves in practice, to say, no, the Dynamos did that, we can't do that. So we had to do something differently, and of course it had to be flawless. If we couldn't execute it, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
I think for us, I don't think that legacy was in our thoughts at that age. We knew that we were different. We also did that McDonald's commercial and got kicked out. But
I want to hear
we
more
knew,
about that. I want to hear more about that, actually.
well, we were considered professionals after that, so we couldn't compete anymore. And but we were still around. But we knew we had a responsibility to Double Dutch to continue what we were doing with excellence.
Exactly.
And like we said, these Fantastic Four, Dynamos, we were really kind of around each other a lot because of that. And
Dave and Mike also, they stressed the fact that this is part of, that to us, they was like, this is your legacy. You're part of the league. We're a family. We're doing this together. It was always like a team vision that they both had. Yeah.
Yeah. We were from Brooklyn, though. We were like... But the support that we received, David, Mike, these young ladies, was just something amazing. And to see everybody today, again, as we said, now we realize what we were doing, what was instilled as we just wanted to jump.
Right. little did we know that we would become pioneers and, of double dutch. I'm going to go as far as to say I'm one of the administrators at the PSA. Ellen Kiva's doing an awesome job in terms of, I see Nikki, and it's my heart's desire, and we're going to charge Lincoln Center to have even our PSAL championship here in conjunction to stepping up with National Double Dutch League, because this resurgence is a great thing for our black and brown girls in New York City, and they need to be in platforms like this, and they need to see Pick Up Your Feet. They need to see us as pioneers and things that they can achieve. So that's,
Yeah, for sure. We're here today because we are celebrating women of color. And it's just so amazing that you're here on this stage and at Lincoln Center again. I'm about to get choked up because just thinking about, we talk about, it's not lost here that there was men of color that championed young women of color, David Walker and Mike Williams, and for them to have the foresight and the vision and the fortitude, actually, to keep going on and to keep lifting you guys up is just amazing. We just had a panel that was looking at double dutch as artistic practice. When you were jumping double dutch, did you feel like you were creating art?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
And you see the African, the dancing, the chanting, that was all there.
And
Yes.
as quickly as you could be original about what you did, the better off you were. So we were always thinking about the creativity
Yes.
around what you were doing. You
Yes.
could never do what somebody else did, because then that was okay. You
That's
need to
right.
be phenomenal.
That-
So definitely, it's
Yeah.
definitely art, definitely takes creativity, and anything that you have, bring it, and we're gonna work it. And that's what I loved about double dutch. Anything I did outside of the rope, my coach made me do it inside the rope.
Okay.
There was no doing outside the rope.
That's right.
In our time, in my time,
That's
it
right.
was in the
In
rope.
the ropes.
Yeah,
That's
but you
right.
had
Ropes
to try it
constantly.
first. That's what I'm saying. Just trying it, then you did it.
it's
You know?
changed a little bit now.
Yeah,
We
it's
see
changed.
some things, we're like, they
Yeah.
could stop the rope?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Getting away with
I'm
murder
not,
over here.
with the new stuff.
So tell us about that, like the evolution, as you've watched the evolution of double dutch. What does that mean to you? Like, how do you feel about the direction that it's gone into? You said we always did everything inside of the ropes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And when now you see teams that stop the rope and they're dancing and how does that feel? And what do you think about how double dutch has evolved in that way?
Okay, for me, I'm not into fusion. I don't like it. We used to have to write all our tricks, literally a whole bunch. Every single thing, if you turn, if you pick up your hand, and whatever it was, we had to write it down. So the judges would see and follow what we were doing. Okay, now with the fusion, half the team is dancing outside the ropes,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
doing, like if that was the case, Fantastic Four, we would have been, on the ropes? Come on now.
I agree, and as we continue to push it toward the Olympics, I thought David Walker did an incredible job at documenting everything that we did. So in order to keep in that direction of going to the Olympics, we have to have some control of what's going on.
Yes,
And it needs
exactly.
to be a sport. And so the fusion, I'm with you with the fusion, is just too far out there for
It's
me.
more of a
It's
show.
more of a show.
More of a
And
show.
we want to keep it
Yes.
to the arts and to
Yes.
the sports.
And it can be done.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
it can be
and
done.
it will be in the Olympics, right?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
It could be
Mother
done,
of double dutch over here.
Because it has been done, so.
Yes.
Shouldn't be no problem for them to go back to jumping inside the rope.
Inside the rope, exactly. And with more structure and control.
Yeah.
Right, more structure and control. One of the reasons why we call ourselves the Fantastic Four was because we were able to, one, simply be fantastic, but we were able to do our tricks inside the ropes, and that was key. So if you really wanted to impress someone, like say Robin, and another thing we utilized was our individual talent and our skills. As a team, we were able to focus on that. Like I was the tallest person, Nikki was the shortest, and she did gymnastics, and Robin was strong. I mean, and Deshawn, very creative. We just took advantage of what we knew as individuals and collectively decided to work together and see what we can do to be original. And as Zenobia said, I mean, structure and control. These young folks can do it as well, but they seem to be more focused on putting on a show. You know,
Yeah,
as
with lights and
yeah, stuff
and the
fancy
ropes.
foot
That
rope
was-
outside the rope.
that was
I'm like, dude,
another
inside
thing.
the rope.
Double dutch. The double dutch I jumped when I was small was your mother's electrical telephone wire. That's how it was. You wrap it around you. You was up there. Then they gave us ropes. We learned, you know, the right way to, you know.
Marlene, you told a really interesting story the other day on the phone about how you went searching for electrical wires. Was that you that told that story?
No.
Who was that told the story on the call?
No. I don't know.
But talking about how you use a lot of different things to jump rope
Oh
with.
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, as inner city kids, you had to be creative. That was one thing. We had imagination. I like to
Yeah.
say. I mean, look, double dutch is
You
an
were outside. You
That's
wasn't
right.
in the house. You know, you
Yes.
was out there.
Out
That's
in
why
the
we stayed
streets.
so skinny.
Exactly. It's an inexpensive recreation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we made do with whatever we had. If it was a clothesline,
Right.
electric cable,
telephone,
cord,
yeah.
telephone cord that you just put around your waist, and it's like, it'll work.
It might hit you, but you better not let it hit
That's
you.
right. That's right.
You gotta
that's
be
right.
good.
Yes.
So we talk about some of that creativity that was embedded in the choreography and the musicality of jumping. Do y'all remember some of the rhymes that went along with the jumps? Some of the rhymes that went along with the jumps.
Well, they said it all in the movies. Yeah.
Give us some suggestions.
Yeah, rhymes. Oh yeah.
Hello. Hey, hey, hello. Hey, yes.
See? Yeah.
Yeah.
Head and
Head and shoulders. Yes, right. Head and
shoulders.
shoulders.
Head and
Yes.
shoulders, baby.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
I bring that up because it just speaks to the musicality. It speaks to how double dutch and hip hop were so easy to merge together because it was one in one of the part of the culture. And I'm so excited to see that again tomorrow night on the stage at Dan Rosh Park. You know, in regards to double dutch as a cultural tradition, you know, one that has been bred and groomed and evolved in our communities. Bringing it here, bringing it back here to Lincoln Center is a big deal.
Yes.
Very
Yes,
much.
indeed.
It's a big deal, and a lot of people may not know the history of Lincoln Center, but before Lincoln Center was here, this was a thriving black community. And this community was raised for urban renewal to set the stage for the Lincoln Center complex. And so it's deeper than just double dutch on the stage or on the plaza out there, because this has always been
Very true.
our space
Yes.
as black and brown people. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that here at this time. So in our panel before this, we talked about, you know, double dutch being at the nexus of quote unquote high art. Does that make you feel special? Because I know we were talking and y'all were like, Lincoln Center, you know, when we were kids, like, we're going to Lincoln Center, we made it big.
Big time. Right.
You have arrived when you went to
Right.
Lincoln Center.
Definitely.
You're here.
Yes.
And that platform, oh, you can't beat it. It was bouncy, really good.
Hopefully we
I
say-
think that our youth are competing with so many other things. We're at this information age where it's so fast. Being at Lincoln Center, like one of the panelists said earlier, is going to validate them.
Yes.
I'm in the New York City school system, and Kiva could speak to it, that our kids, we didn't have anything to do. There's so much between their cell phones and social media and things like that. Being at Lincoln Center will validate them. Even seeing the pioneers in Double Dutch, knowing the history, knowing why it was David's vision to bring us here, I think there'll be a rebirth. Because now they can be live streaming at Lincoln Center. Look at here, I'm live streaming.
That's right. That's right.
So if I'm an educator, part of my thing, my business is children. And without children, we don't have any Double Dutch. So this resurgence of Lincoln Center feeling that it's important to bring us back, I think this is a major step in us grabbing back our kids to seeing that this is relevant. It's still relevant. It's not just Double Dutch, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 1 up, 2, 3, that type of thing, that you can achieve something as big as getting to Lincoln Center. And that way, the vision of David can still carry on. And that way we can also come back. It was very exciting just coming around the corner. I'm telling my dad, like, could you walk up? Don't you hear that? I heard stuff on the mic. Could you come on? Could you walk a little faster? Because it's something that is dear to us. And the passion that's up here now and the passion that's sitting out there now needs to be re-energized in something like this.
Yeah. Well, isn't it great that David and Mike had the vision? Because once again, you say Lincoln Center, you think performing arts. Double Dutch is an art form.
That's right.
He has always said that it is an art form. So yes, it belongs here. We're acting like, yes, it is a nod and a validation to be here, but it belongs here.
Exactly.
Because it is an art form. To me, it's poetry in motion. Matter of fact, look. This was taken at Lincoln Center way back in the day. Can you see? Yes.
And just to add, Dolores, I would say it's just the opposite. Double Dutch elevated Lincoln Center.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cultural center without having Double Dutch. We brought up the downtown. We brought uptown downtown. So we elevated them.
Some people didn't know about Double Dutch, so they come and they see that.
That's right.
And they're like,
Exactly.
wow, what's this? What are these girls doing?
That's right.
It will never be the same.
Once
That's
again,
Double
we
Dutch.
belong
That's
here.
right.
We belong here.
That's right. Thank you for that note. I think we're going to open it up on the floor. If anyone has questions for these ladies or any of the teams that are here. Yeah, so we have a roving mic.
Well, when you listen to a musician and you are brought to tears, there's a point where the musician becomes the instrument. In terms of Double Dutch and being brought to tears, I'm thinking about the spiritual relationship to the rope. That spiritual relationship to the rope.
Very true.
Yes.
I just am so thankful and moved and blessed to be here. Going back to the first question you asked in terms of legacy and the like, I must say with each one of you sitting on the panel, and those of you that are in the audience, some are dressed in their T-shirts identifying themselves, but I must say for those of you that are not in it, when you were walking around the room, I knew who you were. I really did. You guys walk with a poise and a confidence, and I'm sure it transcends this event. I know there's a lot of pride for you all.
Definitely.
Being here, right? And us looking and laughing and giggling and hearing you guys was so moving to me. But I know it's not limited to here. And I brought my daughter here today because I want her to have a smidgen of that as a young black girl and knowing that she can be a pioneer. She is a pioneer too,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Oh, and the other thing is, when I first watched Pick Up Your Feet, the pressing question for me was the bravery, if that's the word, of the young man that was in the film.
The only one.
I know, and I was left saying, whatever happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? I was so intrigued, and I'm so glad you're here, because when I came in today, I was like, I hope I see that boy. I admire your bravery for that, because I'm sure there was some negative backlash of some sort or another for you to be involved in such an amazing sport that one would think was limited to females. But you broke barriers as well, and I thank you for being here too.
Yes, very true.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much. I feel very inspired and emotional. I'm from the Lower East Side Girls Club, and Elias in the house. And our young ladies were DJing the event, and thank you to Kaisha for providing that opportunity. They're 12 and 13 years old, and we brought about 15 of our girls down to the plaza, for really some of them for the first time seeing Double Dutch. And I really want you to know that you ignited a fire. They were so inspired, and I really hope that the seed that you planted can continue to flower, because I think it's just so great, you know. And we're the Avenue DJs, work on Avenue D, and there's a lot of negativity and there's a lot of things to get into. But also, it's about health, as somebody was saying before. So it's about keeping fit. All I see on Avenue D are just fast food joints and, places like pharmacies. So, a lot of our kids have type 2 diabetes. So we really need to keep them healthy and just inspired. It was an incredibly powerful performance opportunity for our DJs. They really enjoyed it. And also getting them into old school. I had to climb a wall of complaints, but it expanded their mind, because they don't listen, they listen to trap music. So it expanded their minds, and they had a great time. So thank you to each and every one of you. It was really, really beautiful to be a part of this.
You're welcome.
I just want to say how I was in a film as well.
Okay.
I want to say how proud I am to be
Please
a
say
double
your
Dutcher.
name.
Well, I was on several different teams. The last team I was on was Dee Dee Magic. We merged. I was Black Magic and Dee Dee Tigers. I jumped with Diane. I jumped with Kiva. I jumped with Michelle. As a matter of fact, she and this young lady are in one of the pictures that's changed. But anyway, let me go back to what I was saying. So I came up from Maryland. That's where I live now. But before I came on Wednesday, this is how proud I am to be part of Double Dutch. My coworkers know that I jump, and I'm a police officer. Why do they know that?
Wow.
Because I'm proud of it. So on Wednesday, when the newspaper came out, the New York Times, the article, someone saved it for me. And they said, hey, Fulcher, there's an article about Double Dutch in it. I said, oh, you remember me talking about Double Dutch? They said, yeah. And I read the article, called my sister. My sister told me that this was happening. I was on the first thing smoking Friday after work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Beautiful, thank you.
that's what Double Dutch did for me. It instilled pride.
Can we get this young lady? She had her hand up for now. And I know she's from PS 268, so we're going to get her.
Okay.
Shout out to Brooklyn. My name is actually Latoya Gatlin, and I am, I just want to say thank you to the panelists that are there. I am part of the Jumpers in Command World Championship team, as well as David's exhibition team, DDDD, Dynamic Diplomats of Double Dutch, who did, like many of the panelists, traveled around the world to introduce the sport of Double Dutch to various countries, picking up that which the panelists left off. So I just want to hone in on the fact that I think Zenobia, or maybe it was Miss Brenda, talked about what Double Dutch afforded you all. And me growing up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, in housing projects, My mother was very strict, and there wasn't much that I could do, but she did let me go to the Brownsville Recreation Center. I could go from the projects to the Brownsville Recreation Center, and that's where I began to jump double dutch. And I ate, lived, and breathed it similarly to you all. And it just afforded me, oftentimes I tell people that I went on to receive scholarships in the American Double Dutch League. I worked with the National Double Dutch League. I still work with the National Double Dutch League. But I tell people all the time that double dutch afforded me exposure and knowledge that I didn't get from formal education. And I went on to college, I went on to everything, but my level of teamwork and sportsmanship and family and just celebrating other people, because you learn to celebrate others.
Watch the Olympics, right?
Even if you make second, even though Robin said in the film that she may wanted to kill yourself, but it caused you to do two things. You worked harder to make first the next time, but you celebrated those that won in the now. You celebrated the now. So it's a lesson that you can't be taught in school, in formal education. I don't think you can't really teach that, and that's something that I think double dutch has afforded me and many of the other jumpers. And the other thing that I wanted to say is to Miss, not Sophie. This is Sophie. That's Marlene. I am actually one of the dynamic diplomats of double dutch, is one of the originators of fusion, right? So I just want to explain that in David's vision, I do agree that it's going to a place that we need to reel it in a bit, but in David's vision in expanding the sport of double dutch, he created the dynamic diplomats of double dutch, which included my team members. And the reason why we even had the name is because in his vision, if we were going to travel internationally, he needed a name that any country could say. So it was Didi Didi. Japanese people could say Didi Didi. German could say Didi Didi. So even in his vision, he thought beyond just now. Like, I want a name that anyone could say. And when you are performing internationally, music is so closely associated to the arts that it was attractive. So I just wanted to put that out there in terms of the fusion incorporation, is that it was needed at the time to spread the sport and get it to another level. I do agree that it's gone somewhere else.
But I still don't like it, so. I'll stick with it, that.
We're from 43, Harlem. So we have Jumpers Personify, Dynamos, Force of Four, Without Warning, all under the tutelage of Jermaine Rump, who work really closely with Kate Griffin and David Walker. Jermaine left, unfortunately, but we thought about teams like Zenobia. We came under her tutelage, because I'm a couple of years younger than her, but we looked up to her.
She had to go there.
We looked at it like we got to make them proud. When we joined the ranks, we was worried about.
She passed the baton.
We gotta bring that championship back to our home. So we looked at it every day after school, going to practice, and Jermaine basically was like a second mom to us. And I opened up to her on Facebook one day and told her that. But the love of the sport, it was just something that we needed, being in the communities that we were in, and it saved a lot of us.
Very true.
Getting us to jump in this center of Harlem being brought downtown was something that we needed to see that we were important at that time.
Right.
I still have the newspaper article that I was featured in. I have the book that we were published in. But those jackets at the end of those competitions, that was everything for us. And David Walker, his legacy still lives in everything that we do as we move on through life, and we thank him for that.
Definitely.
Excuse me, I just want to say, wow, there's quite a few questions. I just want to say something. Being that everyone is so inspired and encouraged, ladies up here, I will also invite you. The Fantastic Four has committed into teaching our younger generation about the sport and about good sportsmanship and about double dutch. So thank you. We are committed as a team and as individuals, and yes, definitely collectively, to make sure the sport lives on. We even have a website called Fantastic Four Double Dutch. And once again, it does highlight all the great and wonderful things, but we're committed. We want to see the sport be an Olympic sport as well. So we're committed. We want to see the first team there in the Olympics. And we said, you know what, if we can bring it here, why can't we take it to the Olympics? So I think, if we can call on each other and say, look, who can we encourage? Let's get these little girls and little boys out there and take it across the waters and,
Let go of the Xbox.
That's right,
You
yeah.
have my full support.
Oh, good. I have your full support. You heard that, Robin. Okay.
I definitely understand that the National Double Dutch League is doing some incredible advocacy to make that happen. So, yeah, whatever we can do to support, and we'll love to see this in the Olympics.
Well, I don't have a question. I just want to say a statement. My name is Diane from Double Dutch Tigers, and I joined Double Dutch the second year it was out. So I'm one of the older ones, I believe, in this house.
Like 1976, right?
I joined in 75.
Oh, it's okay. 'Cause, yeah, you was a year older
Yeah,
than me.
and
Let's drop it.
I just got to say, David, Walker, Mike Ulysses, they were like fathers to me. I used to be in their office. They worked in 32nd Community, 32nd Precinct Community Affairs. That was literally my home. Those two gentlemen was like my dad. I was up in their office all the time. So bad that after years, I became and followed in their footsteps. I became a police officer here in New York for 20 years. And that was only more so because I looked up to them, and I would see what they were doing, and I wanted to follow in their footsteps. So I just want to say thank you to the Walkers, because you made my life a better. Not that it was bad, but it gave me a direction, a better direction to go through, to go forward and do something positive.
Definitely.
And from this day, I've taught my daughters to look at positive and move in a positive direction. It kept me off the streets. I seen some of my friends, my girlfriends, they were having babies at a young age.
Okay.
I didn't have time to do that. I didn't have time for boys. Because like they said, we was in practice. Practice, practice, practice. That's what we knew. All of us, y'all know what I'm talking about. And if you look at most of us in Double Dutch, none of us had babies at a young age.
Wait. After I finished Double Dutch, right after I had my daughter, who's here, and I didn't go back to Double Dutch, remember?
Yes.
So,
yes.
But it was Shirlene Brown, her sister.
Yes, Shirlene Brown was on our team. Unfortunately,
Right, she
she's
had a
not here
baby.
today,
Right.
but Double Dutch was my life, and it still is my life. From then, I moved on to Atlanta, and I'm trying to bring Double Dutch there. It's there, but I want to get it even more exposure.
Right.
So, thank you.
There was a lot of things that were really said here that were very moving, and it was coming from the audience and as well as our spokespersons up front. I just want to let you guys know that you have really made us all very proud. Emotionally, just listening to the stories on how David Walker and Roger and all of the other folks who were there, they were the groundstone. As you can see, I'm getting emotional. It's part of history that sometimes we don't get a chance to see the people who have worked, planted the seed, and allowed it to grow. We have a vision of all of you here because you are standing before us, but we have those who planted the seeds who we don't have a visual for. And so we just would like that at this point. If you guys have, I know that you said there was a picture of those guys there, so I really do look forward to each and every one of you being able to see the men and the women who planted that seed, and now we have an oak tree that stands before us. So we're moving forward, and I just want to thank all of you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for your contributions and your gifts. We lost recently an ethnologist, Richard Abrams, and among the many books he published was a book called Jump Rope Rhymes, chronicling jump rope rhymes from the streets. I'd love to hear more about the music that you were either listening to as you jumped competitively and exhibited, and music that you created. It's my understanding, not knowing a lot about Double Dutch until relatively recently, it's my understanding that originally you provided your own music in the form of rhymes. I would love it if you guys could recite any rhyme that you might remember, but could you tell us what you were listening to, what music was part of the events that you all, or was it done silently with just your voices?
Silently. It was the beat, right? The beat. Some of the girls will create with their, with their legs, the beat. Obviously, you heard good African music. What I was called the bangles. And that's how a lot of them, it was us. It was us. There was no music to entertain nobody. We were the show. That's how David did it.
And I think that really sums it up, because if we absolutely was silent, but heard that step. Like, I still remember the Fantastic Four, that step that they're doing. Yeah. So the pounding of the feet, that noise, that was the music for my ears.
Yes.
And it
we
still is.
Right. We made our own music.
Wow.
Zenobia, you're absolutely right. Double Dutch has that, correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, but it's like tick, 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 tick. And once you hear that, it was on.
Yes.
It was on. Because you knew that was like, okay, it's about to be on now. It's about to be on. It's about to be on. Right? Get ready. Sometimes you do this because you were reacting to the rhythm of the ropes. It was always the rhythm of the ropes, the rhythm of the ropes, the sound of the listen. We kept, and as we always say, listen to the rhythm of the ropes. Listen to the ropes. The ropes will tell you what to do. The ropes will tell you what pace to go. So we kind of created our own music. And then, yes, we did a little head and shoulders, maybe 1, 2, 3.
But it's like what I mentioned in the beginning. When we're walking up, we parked and we're walking up. My dad's kind of like strolling, but I heard the ropes. I heard the people on the mic. I'm like, you don't hear that? Come on. What you all right? Yes. So it's it's a vibe.
Yes, it is.
Definitely.
Hello, my name is Kim Bradshaw, and I'm out of the Washington, D.C. area. And actually, I grew up jumping Double Dutch, and I idolized you guys. I started in 1980 in Washington, D.C. I don't remember my first year coming here, but I do know that we came here a couple of times before actually being able to compete, and we were in awe of you guys. We were good in D.C. We were like one of the best. When we came here, we were like, this is a whole nother level. So I'm here because I've been in the trenches since 10 years old, 5th grade. So I've been coaching for 25 years, and I started jumping at 10 years old. So I am one of the originals who started with black and brown girls and doing Double Dutch in this manner, and the sport has evolved to something totally different. And in trying to come up and keep my program going, I've had to evolve. I've had to evolve my thinking, how I approach the sport, what my kids can do, and how I can keep them involved. So in order to participate in the various leagues, I've had to change my style. We are one of the only black teams who have mastered single rope and Double Dutch. We can still do both styles. We do this style, we can do the fusion style, but I'm telling you, it's been very hard. I don't really have a question because you kind of answered about your vision to bring it back to our community. But maybe expand a little more on how you can maybe bring the old sport back and combine it to get into the Olympics, because at this point it's really, really divided. And I don't, as a person who tried to fight to keep it the way it was and then had to evolve to what it is now, I just kind of want to hear a little more about maybe what your vision is to bring our girls and our young men back into the sport, because right now, I don't know about New York, but in Washington, D.C., the total sport has really died out in the schools. It's not present at all. So, I wanted to hear maybe a little more about what your thoughts on that.
Okay, the Double Dutch Tigers, we went to Washington, D.C. We jumped for Senator Jacob Javits, which now he got a center on 34th Street. So what I would say is cut off the fusion, cut off the music, cut off the show, go back to what it was. Jump inside the vote. Use your imagination. What you're doing, you could do it inside the vote. And the beat, like they said, the beat of the vote is, anybody could do something outside the vote.
I would like to interrupt you.
In the vote.
I'm the head judge
of Fusion?
Of Fusion for the National Double Dutch League. David Walker included me from the very beginning. From the very beginning, David Walker included me as the head judge for the Fusion National Double Dutch League. And I wish there was a picture up there so those of you who have not seen him, who do not know him, he is the main person. He's the reason we're all here. So I wish you could see what he looks like. But I think maybe because maybe you're old school, David brought Fusion into Double Dutch to expand it. He exploded it with the Double Dutch with Fusion. You should go to the.
I've seen Japan. I've seen.
But
I've been to the.
It's not just that, but he wants to expand Double Dutch, and I think he's done a fantastic job. He did a fantastic job doing that.
He always did.
Yes. I think this should definitely be included for the Olympics. It would blow them away. It really would.
I'm going to be quick because it's been a long day for me, but I just want to say tomorrow from 2 to 5 p.m., the Double Dutch Summer Classic will include, right here at Lincoln Center, Josie Robinson Plaza, will include the old school Double Dutch and the new school Fusion Freestyle. Okay. And it's important whether anybody's opinion is about how Double Dutch evolved from a urban game into a competitive sport with no music and how it has evolved into it with music. It was a vision. And that vision of where it is now, the pioneers from the old and the pioneers like LaToya that discovered the new, it was the vision to give us more awareness. You asked us how we get that platform. Yes. Well, he had to create a platform to give us more awareness. And through venues like Lincoln Center and the Apollo, and the main thing was the diversity, bring African Americans into a predominantly upscale community, bringing the people from the lower West Side to Harlem, the Apollo now that's regentrified. There was a whole vision behind it. So old school embraced the new, because the new school has definitely embraced your old. And I'm not saying like from just a standpoint of the vision to getting to Olympics. Before we leave today, I want to mention one person that you guys don't know. Mr. Ray Frederick, are they still here? Yeah, and June Harataki. He has actually been very responsible in helping us with that international goal. And he came from Japan to join us today with his family. June, stand up. And he has embraced Fusion. And that platform has come from you guys. And yes, it has gone a little array, but Fusion is supposed to be done in the ropes, we know that. But I want to say to all you guys made me cry today, because I remember as a little girl, when my father was traveling, I always wanted to go with y'all, but I had to go to school. And it always was dear to me because when I didn't have my father, and my mother was traveling with y'all too.
Yes.
He was with y'all. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
And my father always said that Double Dutch helped create doctors, lawyers, school
police officers,
principals of all generations, all colors, and all diversity. So come out tomorrow.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Oh.
Good. Need to stretch. My name is Peter. You saw me in the video. I've heard a lot today. I'm excited about being here today. Once we got the information, knew I had to kind of be here, and I guess that was the perfect segue right there. When she talked up, there's a couple of things or themes that I keep hearing throughout this whole process, and I think the young lady asked the question, and yeah, I was 10 or 11 years old when I started. So being the only boy, it was like, yeah, we would do the on lots and do different things, and you'd hear the little things being said, and I had to get tough skin. And I said, but what Double Dutch did for me, it did what it did for the young ladies, and it was a different experience for me. Because when I traveled with the young ladies, I had to have a separate place to change. I had to have different ways of going, Sometimes I'd have to change in the car, because they had to get, the ladies. We wasn't expecting a guy, so we had to make different arrangements. But, the themes that I hear, one of the words from even the first panel, excellence. Double Dutch created not just, a sport and something for people to watch, but it created for those who participated in it, it created in us a sense of excellence, doing things with excellence. Segue right there, empowerment. We were empowered. I can say I was empowered. I mean, today I'm at Meg Evers College. I'm the Senior Director of Student Affairs for the past 24 years. So I'm also a social worker. CUNY has a program called the Black Male Initiative. I'm one of the founders of that. So how do we empower black males? So yes, I jumped double dutch. I got the whole concept, but it took me to other places. How to help empower other people. Coming from backgrounds, where we came from, it was middle class. And I listened to some of the other young ladies, like you said, the poor without the OR.
I was P.O.
Being able to mix and mingle with just different people from different backgrounds, that helped us to grow. And then one of the things I heard from the stage that, we're adults now, I heard the whole spirituality piece. It's like when you're going through that process and you're empowering yourself, you're trying to reach excellence, you're also forming a relationship with your higher power.
True.
And so that helped me to draw closer to, and I call him God, so I don't know, whatever you want to call him, I call him God. So that brought me closer to having a better relationship with him. And so, I applaud all of the people that are being honored today. It was like Brenda said, when I came around the corner and I heard that pat, 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 and I heard the mic, I picked up my pace. It was like, yo, you got to get around this corner. And it was like, it was exciting to me. And then to see Brenda, and then to see, the faces that I saw over 30 years ago. And that's what I had to think about that. I said, wow, this is over 30 years ago. I can tell my age, the ladies don't say, I'm 48. And I'm like, at 48, I'm like, wow. So, my family and most of my friends on Facebook who know me from years ago, that's how they reconnected. I remember you from Double Dutch. So some of the same people that whispered stuff behind my back, some of those are my good Facebook friends. Because they want to know what's going on. Oh, you're doing such wonderful things. And I can't say I'm doing all of those wonderful things without saying that Double Dutch had an impact in that.
They probably were jealous because it was with the girls all the time.
Hello, ladies. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. Y'all are amazing. I just wanted to bring up two things. So I don't know if this is cosmic, but Reverend Malika Lee Whitney and her group, the Double Dutch Dreams, is performing in Harlem today on 119th Street and 120th on Lenox Avenue. And then my question is, where did the term Double Dutch come from? I've been dying to say.
Double vote? I don't know.
Yeah, so there's a long history. Maybe, Lauren, you want to talk about the history of Double Dutch? I can Google it. So apparently there's many different iterations of this story, but it dates back to the Phoenicians and the Egyptians who would turn the rope to twine the rope, and that's where we got that motion from. But then the Dutch picked it up, the Phoenicians traveled, clearly. The Dutch picked it up and brought it here. So, the island of Manhattan was settled by the Dutch, right? And so that term arose, Double Dutch. And I think it was really claimed by black and brown people because, one, we could do it on the streets, on hard concrete. There was nothing else that we had to do. And, yeah, that's how it evolved, from what I understand.
Hi, it's me again. So I just wanted to say, again, I've been in Double Dutch, again, since 1976. I think Diane and I are the ones who are still, really heavily involved, whether it be through the National Double Dutch League or the American Double Dutch League, through PSAL, through coaching. And I have literally watched this sport evolve as a jumper, as a coach, as an official, and now as a commissioner. So I have watched it evolve. So I just want to say, in terms of Double Dutch back then when we did it was much harder than how it's done now.
Thank you.
And it's much harder because they have slowed the ropes down to this almost is not turning. However, when you see it now, when you see Double Dutch now, and with the inclusion of the fusion, I love it. And I know one time at one of David's clinics, he taught it to me, and then he had me teach it when he had a camp. So you have to understand, as Lauren said, why fusion was brought in, to expand Double Dutch. And it's also, Double Dutch is no longer just competitive. See, David took Double Dutch off the street, and he made it competitive. In fusion makes it a show, because it's showtime. So it's a difference. So when you go to compete with Double Dutch, where we had to sit and be quiet and don't make no noise, no, it kind of, as the years went on, it almost got, in lack of better terms, boring, because you were just sitting there, you couldn't make noise. But when he brought in that music, and you were able to step out the rope and just do a little bit of dance, because you're not supposed to be out the rope but so long. You do a little two-step, and then you make it's choreographed to the music.
But I seen like 8 people on the jumping, and there's like 5 outside the rope.
No, but I'm just explaining. Like I said, I'm explaining the purpose.
No, I understand. I understand the purpose. I understand the purpose.
It's showtime.
So more people could come. More people
It's showtime. But you have to understand also in doing that.
Matter of fact, I saw the Double
That
Dutch team
brings
on
everyone into
Showtime.
it. Now you have your dancers, you have your gymnasts, you have the best turners, because it's no longer, it's just not 4 people no more, 3 to 4 people. You have a group because you're performing. And that's what a lot of these fusion teams are doing. They're going out and they're doing a performance. And what does that performance bring? It brings people saying, oh shoot, wait a minute, let me get Double Dutch. Let me bring Double Dutch. Let me get Double Dutch. Let me get it in my venue. Let me get it in this venue. So fusion is important. It has its place, but it's still important. It is an important aspect of Double Dutch, because we have to move on as things change. We don't want to lose the initial concept, but we do have to move on, and we have to be inclusive, and that's as far as getting to the Olympics. You see all these different leagues out there, and everybody's trying to claim Double Dutch. No, Double Dutch is David Walker, and David Walker's Double Dutch.
That's right, that's right.
Everybody's trying to claim it, but we, you, me, everybody in here, we cannot let them claim it. It is incumbent upon us to do what we have to do to keep his legacy alive.
Definitely.
And let it stay with him. I mean, I've been to other countries, France. Oh, they're trying to tell me another name person. I'm not even going to say the name. Oh, he did Double Dutch. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. You know, and people really have to realize it is incumbent upon us to ensure that his legacy remains with us and throughout. I mean, even within the PSAL, every year I give out the David Walker Memorial Award to a special coach, because it's his legacy. So if you get that award, that means something. You're getting the David Walker Memorial Award. So I think it's important for all of us to commit I'm always committed. And I'm not committed for the dime. I'm just committed to give back my time, because coaches gave their time to me. So now as an individual, we have to give back. We have to give back freely and wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And so one thing I wanted to say is about legacy. It's really important that, the mission of this whole program was about working to preserve the legacy of Double Dutch. And if we're not talking about it, if we're not performing it, if we're not studying it, if it's not at places like Lincoln Center, then what happens? And it's really important that we are driving the narrative about the sport, about the cultural practice, about the art form. We have a oral history project that's going on the plaza today and tomorrow, 12 to 4, where each and every one of you can go in and talk about your history with Double Dutch, your experiences with Double Dutch, your relationship to Double Dutch, in order to document that history. That's being powered by the New York Folklore Society, and the hope is that It will be archived in a major cultural institution because it is about preserving that legacy, and we have to be the ones that are creating that narrative. So I really encourage you to do that over the weekend. I think we have time for one more question. We have time for two more questions, I'm told.
Girl.
Okay.
Okay, hi. Wow. Okay, well, I just want to make this real quick. I mean, first of all, I just want to say, I just want to commend all of you just for just being here and continuing the legacy of a favorite childhood pastime. I mean, I come from a small rural town in the South where Blackness just is not celebrated on this type of level, and to like be here in this place in this moment and to just see, you know, that Black girl magic in the form of one of my favorite pastimes, double dutch, is just like heartwarming, it's inspiring, it's phenomenal. And when I look at these pictures, I see myself, you know, when I was younger, and like to see you ladies now on stage now, it's just like, my God, I want to be just like them, you know. I mean, that's like all that I would wish for, you know, it's just to leave something behind, like something so phenomenal. And so I just want to ask you ladies, like, you know, when Michelle Obama, I remember, brought the double dutch to the White House, and I got that same feeling, like, oh snap, oh my God, Michelle Obama is like double dutching on the White House lawn. How dope is this? Like, how did that make you guys feel? Like to see like something that y'all did as kids, you know, like go that far, you know, somebody as notable as Michelle Obama to like bring the South Side girl from South Side of Chicago, bring something like that to the world and like just inspire everybody. How did y'all feel to be a part of that?
Wow. First of all, to me it says Shell can get down. The fact that she recognized that double dutch is a sport, and that these young Black and brown beautiful babies are out there doing their thing, and that it's important for us to stay healthy, athletic, be involved, be good teammates to each other, I thought was just so important to just function as a community, a strong, cohesive community. So I was really just honored that she could have chose any other sport, but she chose double dutch. And I said, wow, you know where she's from. Yeah, you know where she's from. So it said to me, from the street, at one point she was out there rocking to get inside the rope. So I was truly honored that she used the sport of double dutch to incorporate that into her health awareness program. So I was thrilled.
It definitely warmed my heart to see that. Like the Obama legacy is just phenomenal. It is just so close to my heart and all the wonderful things that they did. But just as you said, Dolores, to then acknowledge a sport that I participated in, this phenomenal woman is recognizing something that I did, it truly, truly warmed my heart to no end.
So I'm in education, and being with the kids, we were like, wow, from the hood to the White House. Yeah. That's what, when you're around these kids, you know, they're like, Miss, yeah, that's what I do. Okay.
Well, first of all, thank you for looking up to us. But I too said, wow. Okay, because like I said, I come from the Lower East Side, Delancey Street, and to see it happening, and she's bringing it very much to keep the kids healthy and lose weight, and you know, because the kids nowadays, they just want to be on their phone or Xbox or whatever. They don't go out like we used to be. We would be in the streets until somebody said, get your butt upstairs, you know?
The lights came on.
Exactly.
The lights came on.
So, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
We're not passing it in.
Okay. I think we're at time. Okay,
Oh,
Rock?
she got a question.
New school, yeah.
So you want to?
Vintage, vintage.
All right.
I think that's an,
You was cool. Came to my baby shower. You don't remember that? You came to my baby shower. Right here in the front. Exactly. Exactly. Treat them like you want to be treated. Yes. Right.
yes.
And we love you, Skip.
It's the future. What we need to worry about, what we need to be concerned and work on now is the future. To get our kids on the right track.
Right.
And to get them track.
So true. So true.
Thank you for that, Skip. I think that's an amazing place to end right now. I want to thank our panelists that are on the stage today, but I also want to thank all of the teams that are here. And as we're going to wrap this portion up right now, but I also want to make sure that we create the space to pay homage to everybody that's here and those that aren't here. Mr. David A. Walker, Mike Williams, all of those people, those pioneers that created this space for us right now.